launch campaign is focused on cannabis delivered before you X, so like before you work out, before you create, before you sleep. So I think that we're sort of meeting customers where they want to receive the product. Like if you find something like a sleep product, for instance, that has 30 doses in it, and you find that it helps your sleep, you can subscribe to that, and you don't have to worry about going in and finding it in a retail store. Hey, I'm Michael Davis. I'm the founder of Kindling, shopkindling.ca, and this is the Ganjha show.
Hey Michael, welcome to the show. So Mike is doing something amazing where he's introducing deliveries to cannabis, which has been like kind of illegal because it was illegal before COVID, and they kind of gave a motion where you can do it, but now it's properly legal now. So let's talk more about that. What do you see delivery in cannabis?
Well, it's not just delivery. I'm focusing on-demand delivery as well as trackable. So you can essentially have on-demand delivery all day. So there's no barriers to ordering. Whereas other stores, it's you got to order by 4. You have to have like an $80 basket, and they only deliver on certain days. Whereas this is easy all day, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Order any product, and it's at your door in under an hour across Toronto. The other thing that we're looking at is subscriptions, wherein we can, once you find a product that you like, that works for you, you can subscribe to it on a weekly or monthly basis. What that allows customers to do is just forget about having to go into a retail location and talk to someone and deal with the inconvenience of that.
Yeah. I mean, some people are just going to kill me for saying this, but probably it's almost similar to being like a Uber of cannabis, you could say, without like within regulations. I mean, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So the only difference is that Uber is sort of a go-between technology between different stores and small businesses, whereas we actually own our inventory, and we're obviously complying with all the AGCO regulations.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more coordination and logistics heavy, but we think it's a good play in terms of accommodating the customer base in Ontario and Toronto especially.
Yeah. Talking about like on-demand delivery, do you think there's a actual demand for it, actually need for it right now?
I think there is. I mean, we've seen like our launch campaign is focused on cannabis delivered before you X, so like before you work out, before you create, before you sleep. So I think that we're sort of meeting customers where they want to receive the product. Like if you find something like a sleep product, for instance, that has 30 doses in it, and you find that it helps your sleep, you can subscribe to that, and you don't have to worry about going in and finding it in a retail store. And a lot of the times the inventory in these retail stores is fairly slim. It's focused on pre-rolls and flowers, so we kind of we have an extensive inventory and assortment that allows that. And in terms of the your question about on demand, I think that there is a ton of sort of on-demand demand, so to speak, wherein someone is is having a party, or is having a dinner party, or is going to work out, or has just worked out, and is looking for that product right then and there, and not wanting to Google the nearest value buds to find it, right?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, you mentioned value buds, so are you targeting that kind of pricing, or?
No, that's the other side of the business, is that we're focused on non-price centric consumers. So if someone is going to be looking for a product that's 19 cents less per gram, that's not really our demographic, because they can find that at Value Buds. If they're willing to look for that and search it out, more power to them. They can absolutely do that if that's what is driving their decision making. But we're focused on adding value to the product, so we don't want to take away value. When I see a ton of value in a lot of these brands, a lot of these products, that's being taken away by going 2 for, or 50% off, or trying to only focus on the price. I think we need to rejig that paradigm and go more towards adding value to the product, elucidating and focusing on sort of the properties of that brand that they're trying to communicate. Like, for instance, there's Blessed Edibles that we've partnered with, where they're focused on recovery from training. So
Yeah.
that's a totally different angle. And like to go and take that product and try and discount it, someone who's really taking training seriously and wants a recovery product, they're going to look at that and go, okay, so why is it discounted 50%? You know, that works for things like high THC flower, right?
Yeah.
Where someone's looking for the most bang for their buck. Great, wonderful, got it. But I think that by taking value away in the terms of monetary sort of price promotions, it's doing a disservice to the industry, to be honest.
Definitely. I think me working at an independent store, I do realize that it's become so competitive, and all of the things that these retail chains are doing is basically like running other stores to the ground, basically. But we have still held our ground in terms of pricing, and if you can have good customer service and provide the best experience, I still think that people would pay whatever you kind of ask them to pay.
I think so too. I mean, look at like there's always going to be McDonald's and these cheaper on-demand places that you can find price-driven products, right? But Uber Eats and Uber in general, they've done okay. And I mean, when you order from an Uber Eats a burger, it's $18, and then once it's delivered, it's 28. But where that goes, I don't know. So what I mean to say is that there's obviously customers out there that are willing to pay for the convenience, service, and brand that comes along with a higher end product, and aren't willing to go and search out, park, go in, deal with the lines, deal with the staff. Perhaps they're not that knowledgeable about what they're looking for. If they're looking for a recovery product or a sleep product. Someone who's 60 who's going in and there's a 23-year-old bud tender in there, not to take anything away from their training or whatever, but they're not necessarily in tune with what this customer's looking for. I think there's a huge unaddressed market in cannabis, especially in Ontario, where there's functions in these products that aren't being focused on whatsoever. It's just how high can you get. It's not, I think there's a lot more capacity, a lot more breadth of function.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, just taking a step back now, let's talk about how you got into cannabis in the first place, if you don't mind that sharing.
Yeah, so during the pandemic, my other business was shut down during that period. So I was looking for something else that would be productive. And I also stopped drinking during that period, during the pandemic. And I found that alongside that, there was a lot of anxiety that came along with that. And CBD actually was incredible for it. So I found that there was, and I wasn't using it to just get high or escape or whatever. I was actually using it as a functional product. And I found that it actually worked. So that was pretty stunning. And then as the pandemic raged on, I got into running long distance a little bit more because there was just so much time to do it. And I found that the inflammation and pain and recovery that comes along with the 35K run, it was like cannabis was perfect for it. Like it assuaged all the aches and pains. The topicals were great for knee pain or foot pain when it came up, and then the CBD capsules themselves, I use ReadyCan. They were great for during the run, where I could sort of soften the mental edge and the strain of long distance running. And so I kind of saw that there was this great potential for cannabis and CBD in a way that wasn't just sort of getting high. It was, and I thought, what else can we do here? So I started looking into it, and there was a ton of research on PTSD or CTE or any of these other maladies and issues that this plant can solve, and it just wasn't, the conversation wasn't even close to being about that. So I thought, it's a long way of answering your questions, that I found some functionality in cannabis that I didn't know was there, and I wanted everyone else to feel that too.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're right, where it's, since legalization, it has been more about just, I think, focused primarily on smoking, and obviously that drives the most number of sales as well. But there is also a wellness component, which a lot of people talk about, even a medicine component, which nobody talks about anymore, because you can just go to a store and buy. People don't need special licenses to carry cannabis anymore. So yeah, I think that's definitely there. With your with this venture, do you feel like you're going to focus more on education? I know you already said you want to focus more on the wellness aspects, but how do you educate customers now?
So in order to quote unquote better your best, which is our tagline, I think you need to, well, actually, I know you need to find the appropriate products. So we've invested pretty heavily in customer support. So on our site, we have a product quiz where you can go through and find what, through your own journey, through your own questions, kind of figure out what product works for you. We have an experience guide that brings you to the what experience you're looking for, and then also we have a concierge, which is a live chat function on our website, so that you can ask a bud tender who's sommelier certified actually at the store from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So you can ask them anything, like how to use this particular lighter, this bong, whatever, like what product will help me go to sleep. So, and then we have like a ton of blog and educational posts that we put up that are aimed at finding the best product for you, because everyone's looking for a different outcome, right? Like you might be looking for a beverage to socialize with and have one less drink, or something to help you go to sleep, or something to wake you up. So we want to help people find that perfect product for them so that they can better their best. And I don't think that going into a physical store really accommodates them, customers, in the best way possible. I think delivery and subscription is the way to go. Get that product in their hands in the easiest possible. We're trying to break down every barrier in this particular market. Like, I think it's a little bit opaque. I don't think it's very easy for new consumers to navigate it. So yeah, we really focus on helping customers find that right fit through those three things: the experience guide, the concierge, and the product quiz.
Talking about like just the concierge aspect, can we definitely can't talk like medically. So how do you tackle the questions about like pain or sleep or those kind of ailments then?
Well, it's the same. What I'm trying to do is take the in-store experience and take it online, so that we can actually, communicate and reach more customers in a more centralized platform. When you have 50 stores, training 150 to 500 people for those stores is extremely difficult. To retain that talent is very difficult, because as the nature of that business is to move on to higher paying job eventually. So it doesn't really, it's an uphill battle trying to retain and train good talent without it being centralized. So to answer your question, it's the same in-store experience you'd get with a really qualified, the best bud tender you've ever talked to. That's what we want to provide all the time for customers, so they don't need to go and find John or Susie, who they love talking about cannabis with. They can get it every single time at the tip of their fingers all day.
Oh, nice.
That's the idea. So yeah, we're not a doctor, we're not a nutritionist or anything like that, or a trainer. We just want to guide you the best way we can within this that's legal, to the best product for you. We want to make it as easy as possible once you do find that. If you want it right now, we'll bring it to you. If you want to subscribe to it because you love it and you just want it delivered automatically, just like toothpaste from Amazon, get a subscription.
I think your example about someone wanting like CBD capsules or something, if they take one every day, those things are easy to subscribe to. But how do you subscribe to like flour or something like that?
Well, so I mean, I have friends that use a fairly predictable amount of flour each week. They're on about a quarter a week, so a gram a day. And the idea with the subscriptions is you don't have to think about it. So you're not going, okay, I'm going to run out. No, you never run out. It's always there every Friday that you need it. You can change it any time. So if you want to try a different strain, change it by Sunday, and then that next week it'll be updated with the new strain. You also get a ton of swag, different product, new product intros, new product drops, and then a bunch of other access to content with it. So, I mean, we obviously don't want to have to market and promote it in order for people to want the service of subscriptions. But we think that outside of the wellness side, there is a market for subscriptions in flour, in pre-rolls, just because there are those regular users that use the same strain and same product weekly, and they like it, and they don't want to go into a store.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
We do get the same people trying to buy the pure Sunfarm Spring Kush every day.
See?
Yeah. I mean, I don't suggest buying that every day, but probably if you like it, then why not?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And again, that's the whole idea, right? Like if you don't want to subscribe, don't get a subscription, get it delivered if you wish. If you want to try something new every week and that's your thing,
Yeah.
great, we'll be there. We'll be there in under an hour for you.
Yeah.
The main thing is though is like again, I've seen at the beginning when we first opened, I did a lot of the deliveries myself, and I was delivering to a number of elderly people who were looking just for that solution to their ailment, whatever that was, whether it was sleep or pain or, whatever it is. They did not want to leave their house. They didn't want to have to deal with the whole thing. So to make it that easy for them, where they can, again, just click a couple buttons and have it delivered with a discreet delivery without branding on it or whatever, is a big plus, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if you're okay, like let's talk more about how the operations kind of do in terms of delivery, because most stores, the reason either they do or don't do deliveries is either because of assortment or lack of staff, because all of your bartenders need to be cancel certified. I mean, delivery drivers need to be cancel certified. Plus, like you said, you guys will kind of make sure you have those products on you all the time. So did you take a decision in terms of not having that many selection, or did you have everything of everything that's out there, or
yeah, so we wanted to be essentially the Amazon for cannabis. So we've gone with a fairly wide assortment and a deep assortment as well. We've invested tremendous amount of money in the inventory as well as the development of the platform.
Yeah.
In order to accommodate it, the service. So
yeah. I mean, Ontario's launching like 200 products every week.
Exactly.
So it's hard to keep up. But as you mentioned, you don't want to go towards the value customers. So are you focusing more on premium products or craft brands, or what would be your like go-to strategy?
Our strategy in terms of inventory is to have the widest assortment as possible. So with the subscription side, we actually pull in all OCS product every week. So we offer every single product that the OCS offers to our customers through our platform today. So you can order a product that's being listed this week for delivery next week for subscription. So we don't have that in inventory though.
Yeah.
So what we do is we're able to take that order and then fulfill it that next week for our customers. So again, we want to provide the entire assortment of the OCS to our customers, so that if they find a product that doesn't work for them, we don't want to. Sorry, I got confused there. I lost my train of thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want if they have an issue that they need resolving, we want to be able to offer that product, even if it's a couple days longer to receive it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting that before, like, you couldn't even get cannabis delivered to your home, and now there's innovations like you guys are trying to build subscription services out of it. Just talking about Ontario in general, like, we've seen so many issues with OCS, AGCO, like hundreds of stores. Why am I saying 100? Thousands of stores now. I just saw today 1,621, something like that is the open count. Plus the whole OCS cyber attack. And obviously you decided to go the other way and not branch out in more retail and focus more on online. But how do you basically navigate all of these challenges while still being like making sure your customers are happy all the time?
Well, you have to, like, in every industry, every business, you're going to have these distribution challenges. In our other business, which we have about 150 franchise retail locations, we deal with that every day. We've been dealing with it for, since I've been there, which has been 10 years. So you're going to be dealing with this no matter what. So you just have to assume that off the jump. So it's not unique to cannabis whatsoever. It's endemic to business operating. So having said that, the way we deal with it is just managing to each sequential wave. So we know that there's going to be issues. We don't know what issues are going to be coming around the corner next week, but we need to be prepared for them. So what that means is having extra stock of high velocity items. And then that way you can accommodate demand if there is an interruption of service. But it is definitely frustrating, and it's an issue that happens anytime government gets involved with anything in commerce.
Yeah.
There's always going to be this layer of inefficiency that's just natural
Yeah.
to government. It just is.
It just, I
Unfortunately.
guess, exists just because it's government. So, in terms of OCS, do you think the OCS just should stop being a wholesaler or like a distributor? They can just be a watchdog and just oversee everything, all the operations, making sure nothing is going here and there, and just let people do like commerce as in other industry it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're using a third-party logistics. I think it's called domain logistics in order to fulfill their orders. So I mean, they're already plugged in, and they're tracking all of the sales and data anyway. So I think to take a step back in terms of actually operating the commerce side of the business and more focusing on regulation and keeping their eye on that would probably be a value add to the overall industry. Because, like, as I said, I mean, the only option is the OCS. So everyone has the same price. There is only one assortment that people can buy from. So again, retailers are forced to pull one lever, and that's price, and that's forcing a downward spiral in terms of value for brands. So if you're to launch a cannabis brand or a CBD brand right now in Ontario, you can rest assured that it will be bastardized by price immediately. So you're not going to be able to have a premium CBD drop or topical or XYZ, because again, the nature of the structure of the industry is to commoditize that product. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I think the OCS would probably ideally take a step back. We'd look at taking deals directly with the LPs. Product flows through those organs of the OCS probably, where they can regulate and have visibility on that product flow. But in terms of actually striking deals with LPs and being able to differentiate assortments, I think that's the way to do it, is for the OCS to take a step back and retain their visibility that they have on the actual supply lines, but not actually execute the commerce.
Yeah, because execution is the only thing that they're, I guess, messing a lot on. After this whole hack happened, I see a lot of job postings from OCS, logistics planner, systems administration, IT.
Yes.
They should have done this before
Yeah, that's
all
the
of this
idea.
happened,
Yeah.
instead of like doing it after. Like I don't know if you've seen that report from OCS. It's the audit done by an external auditor. Literally all of their processes, right from ordering a product or like approving a product on OCS up until like delivering the products, even the markups, it's all done on a whim. Like it's not a standardized process.
Yeah, it's not data driven. It's personal preference. So
Yeah.
based on who you order, the assortment will be different. So
Exactly.
I mean, and you see that in the industry as of now, like in retail. Like we have our managers. I see the way they naturally approach ordering, just based on the nature of the fact that there's 200 new products every week. It's very gut feel. So like you end up, without relying on data, you can get into a situation where it is really sort of a whirlwind of products that aren't really driving any real volume.
Yeah.
And that's where the OCS is right now. They are in a whirlwind, and they're not executing, that's for sure, any volume.
Yeah, I mean, at least in the States, however bad it is, at least you know what products you're buying. So you know the THC percentage, the terpenes, whatever that. Even if whatever the testings is fake or whatever, like that's also another thing. But at least you know what you're buying. OCS just gives you a range that
Right.
you can hope that it'll be that one, and a lot of times even that range is false. So you're just blindly ordering products which your customers can't see in the first place.
Right.
They are also blindly buying it from you. So there's so much like guesswork involved. So how do you make sure, since you're going on the wellness aspects of it, make sure that you're going the right direction?
Well, as soon as we get the products in, we check the packaging, we update our site. So that's the way we keep ahead of that. But back to the OCS, like to your point, I mean, can you imagine how many of the Ontario retailers would stay with the OCS if there was competition? I think about 4%, right? That would actually stay with the OCS. So that's kind of an issue right there, is that there's this huge obstacle to efficiency in the market, and the government is that obstacle.
Yeah. Yeah, most people would usually use OCS as like the first or initial months of their operations because that's the thing that they know. But once you start building relationship with LPs and different reps, that's how I think you should go about it, because they ideally have the best information on them, rather than like the OCS right now. Yeah. Just before we end this conversation, I mean, what do you see future in terms of probably the next year as well? There's a lot of talks about like reviewing the Cannabis Act, which is not happening. But do you think that you see something from the AGCO's perspective in terms of the making market a bit more open, maybe more consumption lounges? What do you think?
I'm not so sure about like making it more amenable to consumption. I would say there's going to be more of a shakeout in terms of the concepts of the retailers. So there's going to be, the Value Buds and Canna Cabanas of the world that will survive. The mid-tier retailers, in my opinion, they're already starting to shake out. Like Dutch Love and Hemisphere are off the market in terms of Toronto and Ontario market pretty effectively, right? And then there's these highly specialized, sometimes mom and pop shops, independent retailers that will survive as well, because they have a customer base that's very loyal to them and their specific assortment, their bud tenders, whatever. The sort of tectonic shift that I see, and that's what I'm betting Kindling's fate on, is an currently unaddressed market of non-cannabis consumers who are willing to look at purchasing in cannabis or CBD or CBN or CBG that currently aren't, because of the state of the market right now. So I think there's a lot of a lot of volume underneath these waves that hasn't been addressed.
Yeah.
People that are not regular consumers don't really know what to get and don't really want to go into a store that I'm looking at servicing.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of old school consumers do have a habit of ordering online. Maybe from BC, but still.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
they have that whole that you wouldn't expect from your regular demographic of 55 plus people who would usually use any kind of websites, in the end, I mean, it's just all about like servicing the right customer, and they like basically sticking it with you. And like you said, the focus on education is huge. I just read something on LinkedIn 2 days ago saying distillate plus live resin is not equal live resin cartridges, because a lot of people are adding like 10% live resin to a distillate cart and selling it as a live resin. So there's a lot of misinformation, but if customers had that education, and obviously bud tenders as well, they would kind of boycott these fakes.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like when you're talking about getting a product that is not necessarily what you want. So if someone who's new to cannabis has that experience, goes into a store, talks with someone, gets something that's not right for them, they're going to be totally turned off, and they're not likely to come back to the industry or the market. And they're not likely to go back to that store and return it, because it's just too much. It's too much of a barrier. So with our concierge, I mean, you don't need to have that awkward interaction of something not working for you correctly. So you can hide behind your screen and ask away using a messaging platform on our website, versus having to call or go in and deal with that. So
Yeah. Even like, as you mentioned before, calling or going in to a particular dispensary, you're not assured what kind of level of service you're going to get.
Right.
And it might just be a newbie who doesn't know anything about cannabis, just got their cancel and wanted to work in cannabis. So they might just drive those customers away. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And like the main problem with that too is not being able to invest in training for those personnel. Like, again, once you have 4 stores, you are overextended, and you're constantly hiring, you're constantly retraining, you're constantly dealing with a shift lead who's called in sick or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas we have a dedicated concierge team that are consumer experience specialists that we've trained in the sommelier licensing, and a number of other wellness licenses. That isn't required of us, but we want to be able to, guide a 64-year-old lady on how she can get a sleep product that works versus a product that will get you more stoned.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for coming on. It's been a great chat, and all the best with Kindling.